Hello everybody and welcome to another Twilight Zone Retro Review. Today it is Season 1, Episode 9, Perchance to Dream. Now, one notable thing before I start talking more about this episode is that it is the first one of the series that aired that was not written by Rod Serling. It was written by Charles Beaumont, and as great of a writer as Serling is, arguably one of the greatest television writers of all time, it was nice to see another quality writer's take on an episode of The Twilight Zone. And I have to say this episode does have a little bit more of a creepy and atmospheric mood than a Serling episode would have. It stars Richard Conte as Edward Hall, John Larch as Dr. Elliot Rathman, and Suzanne Lloyd as Maya the Cat Girl. Yes, Maya the Cat Girl. So the episode starts with a very nervous man walking on the street, and he basically goes up into the doctor's office, and he looks so tired that he just basically lays down for a second. When he gets up, he tells the doctor that he can't get any sleep because the next time he falls asleep, he will never wake up. And he starts telling his story about how he has these dreams, and they seem so real that he'll get so worked up because he has a heart condition. He explains that he has a heart condition that any undue stress could do him in, and that these dreams are so real that it will kill him. He will not wake up from them. He tells a story about another incident he had where he was in a car and he thought someone was in the back seat, even though he knew no one was there. He still crashed anyway because his imagination is so wild, it always has been, from when he was a boy, that there's nothing he can really do to stop it. So he's taking pills to stay awake all the time. And as he keeps telling the doctor more and more, we eventually get into these really intense and well done dream sequences, which I'm not going to describe the entire dream sequences, but they are really effective and they build upon each other. But one notable thing in these dream sequences is that there's a girl there named Maya the Cat Girl, and she's kind of the catalyst. He explains he doesn't know who this woman is, but she's kind of the catalyst that sets off these dreams which take place in a theme park. And throughout each dream sequence, they're done in sequence. He says he dreams in sequence, and each one kind of builds upon the one before it. And there's really a feeling of intensity in these sequences that really, really works. It really builds up, and it feels pretty modern. I mean, they're really well done in the way they're constructed. And personally, I think if Maya the Cat Girl was in a dream, it would probably be a good thing, not a bad thing, but to each their own. For him, it's creepy. And the acting is really good by Richard Conte and Suzanne Lloyd in these dream sequences, and that's worth noting. So basically, after he's done with these dream sequences, he's really freaked out again, and he tells the doctor there's nothing you can really do to help me. He says, I'm going to go outside and get some air. And as he's leaving the building, he sees the secretary of the doctor, and she looks exactly like Maya the Cat Girl. Miss Thomas, the secretary, is an exact image of her. This freaks him out. He runs back into the room and basically smashes himself right through the window from the shock. And then we cut back again to the doctor, and he's just laying there in the room, and the doctor calls Miss Thomas, the secretary, in and said, this man is dead, he's passed on. And she talks about how, he went in the room and he was so tired he must have fallen right asleep. So it turns out that the entire sequence in the doctor's office was part of the dream, and he was describing a dream inside of a dream. Pretty heady stuff for its time period. I mean, wow. And although on a rewatch you can see it coming that the whole thing was a dream, it's pretty obvious the way it's filmed. I'm not sure that audiences then would have caught that right away, and that's pretty impressive. And then basically it ends with the doctor talking about how you can dream a lot in a very short period of time. It's also part of Rod Serling's ending narration. And the doctor says at least he went peacefully, but we, the audience, know he did not go peacefully at all. It was his dreams that did him in. And this episode has a lot of interesting things to say about dreams and dreaming. And I really, really like this one a lot. I feel that the way it built, it's kind of a hard episode. You just have to watch it and watch the dream sequences, because that's really where a lot of the plot takes place, and there's a lot of detail in them. But this episode really works well. Dreaming is still very relevant today. It's a very relevant episode, and it's very interesting to think how time is different in a dream than it is in our reality. And I also feel that this episode's a bit underrated, where there's some episodes I feel get a little bit too much hype. I don't feel this one gets enough hype. I'm not really sure the reason. But this, to me, is the best episode so far, and one of the best episodes of the first season. And I am going to give Perchance to Dream a 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. I think it's well deserved. Tell me what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.